Okay, the numbers about Richard Wood and Associates, as promised. Here is the unredacted version of the discovery from the lawsuit in 2008. Now, to give you an idea of how scared I am to do this, I have been threatened with a lawsuit if I gave out the unredacted original copies of this. I have also been threatened with a lawsuit in regard to tortious interference of business, because this involves Richard Wood and Associates, and Richard Wood and Associates doesn't want people to know about his high inconclusive rates. And why? I'm getting too old to care about being sued. I'm getting too old to be afraid of these people. And I'm getting sick and tired that this exists and probably still goes on, in my opinion. And I got to compete with these assholes? So let's go over the numbers, okay? Now, Wentz and Zaffarelli, which were representing Yokefellows and Michael Strain. They are the two of the biggest sex offender therapist providers in Tarrant County. Okay, everybody else runs a far second and third to these guys. They literally have the market cornered. Okay, which is not my fucking problem, but it does become my problem when they do this with the polygraph examiners. And let's prove that they do this with the polygraph examiners. According to this, Wentz and Zaffarelli's clients ordered 690 polygraph examiners from examinations from a period of time of August 2007 to May of 2008. That's 9 months. Now, to give you some perspective, that's $200 per polygraph. That's the going rate for PCSOT tests at the time. Add that up, or multiply that up, it's $138,000 in a 9-month period. So this is a very lucrative business. If you can put a monopoly in one county, you don't got to worry about anything. That money's going to come flowing right in. I mean, again, this is just 9 months. $138,000. Now, out of that 690 polygraph examinations, 633 polygraph examinations went to Richard Wood and Associates. 26 of those polygraph examiners went to behavioral measures. 31 of those polygraph examiners went to all the other examiners on the approved polygraph examiners list. Now, what is this approved polygraph examiners list? Well, it's very much like any of the other approved polygraph examiners lists inside of the area. The only difference is when they were given this list, and according to the MOU that I signed at the time, probationers had the choice of who to go to on the list. Well, that doesn't look like too much of a choice to me, because what are the odds that all of these examinees, 91% of the time, was going to pick Richard Wood and Associates? I mean, let's take the numbers away. What are the odds that that's going to happen? Now, if I was an MIT mathematician, I could probably explain what the odds are, and the odds aren't good. The probability of that, it has got to be astronomical, okay? But be that as it may, 4% went to behavioral measures. 5% went to all the other examiners, of which there were 6 examiners. So that's under 1% per examiner out of 6 examiners. Under 1%. Now, that is Wentz and Zaffarelli's numbers. They are undeniable. They're irrefutable. It's right here, right in their unredacted discovery. These numbers are beyond reasonable doubt. No one can argue that. And anybody that wants to argue that, good luck to them. Now let's go ahead and assume for a minute. Well, no, let's not go ahead and assume for a minute. Let's go ahead and go over Richard Wood and Associates numbers. They're truthful, unredacted, undeniable, and irrefutable numbers that was given to my lawyer by Noah Webster, which was who was representing Richard Wood and Associates. Yokefellows ordered 175 polygraph examinations, and Mr. Strain ordered 173. That comes up to 348 examinations. Well, how could that be? Because Winston Zaffarelli said that they ordered 633 examinations. So how do we get down to 348? Well, if you look underneath that little table, buddy, you can see retests for inconclusive results are not included and were performed at no charge. Now, 633, 348, that's 285 inconclusive polygraphs out of 633. How is that not a ridiculous number? That is 45% inconclusive. The numbers are right there. All I've done is the math. And the one thing I love about math is 2 plus 2 will always equal 4 unless you live in Washington, D.C. And then God knows what it equals. But anyway, those are the numbers. Undeniable, irrefutable, beyond reasonable doubt. All I did was the math. Math never lies. There is proof beyond reasonable doubt that Richard Wood and Associates has had a 45% inconclusive rate, and the idea that your client has recently come up inconclusive, and I'm pretty sure if you talk to some of the sex offender therapists, they'll say, yeah, they hear the word inconclusive a lot. They hear the word inconclusive a lot, and if they don't do it, then they're lying to you. Bottom line. Now, let's take a look at the why. Okay, because, I mean, why? Well, 690 polygraph examinations at $200 a pop, once again, is $138,000. 633 polygraph examinations at $200 a pop, that's $126,600. Now, let's go ahead and let's just go with Richard Wood and Associates numbers just for a few minutes. If they did just do 348 examinations, that's $69,600. That's still a pretty good head of cabbage for 9 months worth of crap, don't you think? But let's take a look at this inconclusive thing. They say here that these tests were performed at no charge. 285 polygraph examiners at $200 per polygraph examination. That's $57,000. What are the odds that someone's going to do $57,000 of free work? And that company's owner doesn't look at the other examiners and go, we're giving away $57,000, guys. What's going on? I would be embarrassed by this number. So do you really think for a second that they just left $57,000 sitting on the table? Because if they did, then they're either stupid or they're lying. Those are the only two excuses I can think of why they would leave $57,000 on the table. Either they're stupid or they're lying, and my follow-up question to that is, which is it? Which is it? It's got to be one or the other. Because no good businessman is going to let that fly out the door. Just, to me, makes sense. Behavioral measures off this 9-month period, $5,200. Hardly an amount worth trying to make a living off of. All the other examiners, $6,200 collectively, $1,033 individually during that 9-month period. Definitely not worth the business, if you will. And the thing is that while they're going ahead and trying to make as much money as possible while doing as little as possible, I do as much as possible for as little as possible. I'm not if I'm in this industry to get rich, I'm a real fucking idiot. Okay? I'm just in this business to do good things and to make a living. That's it. That's all I want to do. I just want to make a living. That's all I ever wanted to do to begin with. I just want to make a living. Okay? Because if you're going into this business and you're not going to work for the local fiefdom lord, you ain't going to make any money. So that's what this comes right on down to. Why would somebody do this? $57,000. Well, because that's what they're charging. And that's what they're getting. And they got away with this. They got away with this. They got away with this by silencing me. They got away with this by scaring me into submission. And it worked. It worked very well. They got away with this by scaring me. And then, even after I dropped everything, okay, because they'll sit there and say that, we won. Well, Richard Wood and Associates did not win. Richard Wood and Associates tucked tail and run because I got tired of the stress. And we all decided we were all going to go our separate ways. However, behavioral measures, that's a different story. I'm not even going to get into that. Bottom line is they had a lawyer that outclassed my lawyer. It is what it is. But Richard Wood and Associates, they didn't win. They did the same thing I did. We all went home. We got tired of the fight and we went home. And that's just the bottom line. Now, my thing becomes, why would a sex offender provider, knowing these numbers, why would Ezio Lete, why would Michael Strain continue to use Richard Wood and Associates? No, after knowing these numbers. Because they told me during deposition that they're obligated by their law to make sure that they have the best polygraph examiners. Okay, I still have the depositions on tape. Still have them. I saved everything from that lawsuit. Why do they still use them? Come to think of it, after any sex offender provider knows this, in conjunction with the written proof, why does anybody use him? He's obviously a liar. Because Richard Wood and Associates insists that this is a lie. The Texas Association of Polygraph Examiners insists that this is a lie. But yet, here's the proof. Why would any lawyer use a polygraph examiner that not only has this high number of inconclusives, or has had this number of high inconclusives, but also lies about it? Come on, people. The proof is there. It is unquestionable and irrefutable. Why would any CSCD count on Richard Wood and Associates to do their probationer testing, knowing this is the result? Go ahead. If any of the if there are CSCDs watching this, look into your files. Tell me how many inconclusives that they have from Richard Wood and Associates, because I'll tell you something. Richard Wood and Associates probably doesn't have those files anymore because they don't have to keep them. Theoretically, Richard Wood and Associates could go ahead and purge their files every 30 days if they want. There is no more Polygraph Examiners Act. There is no more law that says that we have to keep our records for 2 years. There is nobody protecting the consumer and the public of Texas. But the worst part about this 45% inconclusive rate is an inconclusive rate does not get confessions. An inconclusive rate does not get answers. Are our sex offenders looking up pornography? Are they drinking? Are they doing drugs? Are they online accessing kids? 45% inconclusive rate doesn't get those answers. An under 5% inconclusive rate does get those answers. And I get those answers all the time with conclusive results, with quality polygraph testing. I have been licensed since 2005. I can only think of one test that had a fatal error in it, and it happened relatively recently, and I was so ashamed by it, I instantaneously, with the probation department, took responsibility for it. I retested that person. I gave that person their money back for the original test, and I retested them for free. And I really wish that I could give away the name of this examinee, because I'd love to be able to prove it. But that happened because of one word I felt ashamed by, because it was such a stupid mistake. First time it ever happened, ever since I've been licensed since 2005. One mistake. But these guys get their asses kissed. Doing a good job in the PCSOT polygraph industry is kind of like pissing yourself in a dark suit. Gives you a nice warm feeling, but nobody really notices or cares. Which is a shame, because our mission is supposed to be no new victims. Our mission isn't supposed to be, let's continue to give Richard Wood every test we possibly can, while he gives us 45% inconclusive. He gets this business not because he's earned it. He gets this business because everybody thinks he's entitled to it. Any polygraph examiner that works hard to earn, well, according to these numbers, those people are just suckers, especially the 6 polygraph examiners at the bottom of the list. The polygraph examiners that really want to do the work are suckers, while the guy who has 45% inconclusive, which arguably backs up the anti-polygraph crowd in regard to the old coin toss argument, they get it all. Pretty fucked up to me, if you ask me.